Hello, Wonderhussy here, live from the middle of nowhere, Nevada. Well, actually, I'm not sure. I could be in California. I'm right around the state line where Nevada and California meet. Kind of in the area north of Death Valley, I guess you could say. Very, very desolate area. I've been poking around here for a couple days. This is day 3 of a planned 4-day trip that I'm on. Went on an expedition out into the wild to find some more interesting stuff to shoot videos of. And right now I'm on my way to, well, I think it's an old mining camp or an old prospectors camp. I'm not exactly sure. I just have the feeling there's going to be a lot of weird and interesting stuff there. And why do I feel that way? Well, I just passed by this thing. That's right, there's this weird kind of bottle shrine at the side of the road as I'm approaching this mine camp. This is quite a work of art. I mean, somebody went through a lot of trouble and drank a lot of booze to make this thing. Look how cool it is, though. This is our number 2 surveyor's target for the North Star mine, and 8 claims to be used by the consulting geologist and our mining engineer. This contraption built by Duke Cleland, Bishop, California, July 31st, 1989. Wow, okay, I'm really looking forward to exploring this dude's mining camp. So let's get back in the car and keep on cruising. Okay, believe it or not, according to Google, we're not even at this mining camp yet, but there's a really cool cabin. I don't want to just drive past this cabin without at least stopping to check it out. Look at this thing. First of all, what's noteworthy about it is it's completely covered in flattened, well, it looks like gas cans. You can tell they're gas cans by at the top there. You can see there's a hole in that one. So, oh gosh, and then look at this. They used old keys to hold uh-oh, I just looked inside the cabin and there's some adult material in there. If you have any kids watching, send them out of the room if you haven't already. I should have expected there to be some adult material in a man's cabin like this. I mean, this is clearly a man cave. Made out of gas cans, tied together with old keys. Just a few pots and pans laying around out front. In other words, nothing to remind anyone of the old wife at home. You know what I mean? This is a place where a man can be a man and talk about manly stuff and, well, look at girly magazines apparently. And as if all that weren't enough to clue you in that you're at a man's kind of place, there's a Copenhagen lid nailed next to the door. It was just swinging wide open when I got here. I guess I'll try to close it when I leave. Oh, I wonder what this means. 12:08. I wonder if that's like the day he died, or gosh, I don't even know if he is dead. You know, he might still be alive. Oh wow, this cabin is pretty interesting. Okay, so first of all, the floor is covered in linoleum squares that are all nailed into place. Each one individually nailed into place. I gotta be real careful because of this adult material on the wall. I guess what I'll do is I'll kind of give you a panorama or pan around the one room interior of this cabin. You can see it's got a little peaked roof. Roof's in good shape too. So there's some kitchen supplies laid in on the wall where the door is that we just came in. Looks like jugs of vinegar and stuff like that. There's a can of cinnamon. There's some camp stove fuel. There's some popcorn. And there's a box on the floor here. What does this say? Top of this, things for the old tin shack. January the 6th, 1988. Duke Cleland. Wow, this guy Duke was cool. So I guess he was collecting old pieces of tin to add to the tin shack. I'm going to go ahead and guess. Okay, and then on the other side of the door that we just came in. Oh, look, Duke's boots. I bet those belong to Duke himself. How cool is that? What does it say? Winner. I don't know. I can't quite read it, but it does have his name written right there on the front, if you can make that out. So yeah, these were Duke's boots. That's cool. Here's a book. Let's see what a man like Duke would be reading. It's got to be something super manly. The plot is pure gold. Business Week. The stakes are high. The players are few but powerful. And every day, the world is brought closer to the biggest financial explosion in history. The $1 billion Sure Thing by Paul E. Erdman. Yeah, that looks like a super manly man's type of book. I mean, got this dude with this boss butterfly collar shirt holding a gun. Then over there he's getting it on with some chick. It looks like there's a power plant in the background. I would expect nothing less from a manly man like Duke. Here's calendars from 87, 88, and 89. I guess he must have passed away. Aw, look. I was just going to say he must have passed away in the late 80s, because he's got marked on the calendar, New Breakfast Club, 6:30 a.m. Yeah, his calendar's from 1987. Aw, Duke. Anyway, so there's just a few things stacked up on the shelf by the door. I'm going to go ahead and open the door again, let some fresh air in. Look at this weird nipple. It's a teapot lid that you pull the door open with. That's cool. Oh, wow, look here on the wall, though, behind this shelf. Somebody has made all kind of notations. Looks like July 4th, 1954, oh, 74. A bunch of notations from 1974, wow. Oh, what does this say? The contraption built by Duke Cleland. February 1st, 1988, Bishop, California. What's the contraption? Oh, maybe we haven't gotten to it yet. Wow, okay, so continuing to pan around the room. Look, he's got some notes on the wall here from 1973. Not sure you can make that out. Guess he took all his notes on the walls. Okay, well, you had a simple little cot, actually 2 cots. Well, this is more actually like bed springs, and it looks like the sides could be folded up so you could make this into a double if you ever had a lady come stay the night. But this is a man's place. There were no ladies coming to spend the night here. As a matter of fact, I feel creepy, like, you know, ladies, if you're watching this, do you ever feel weird when you go into the men's room? Like sometimes there's a really long line for the ladies' room and no one in the men's room, so you'll go in the men's room and it always just feels like you shouldn't be there. Well, that's kind of how I feel in this cabin. It's so manly. This is a really neat old-fashioned cot. Look at that. I haven't seen one of these in a cabin before. It's just like a piece of canvas stretched across this really intricately woven rope. I guess that would be pretty comfortable to sleep on. I mean, if this rope isn't rotted. There's Duke's chopping block. I guess he used that to chop stuff. Okay, on the back wall, well, he's got a nice manly hunting painting of some hunting dogs. And he's got a real manly painting of a bear holding a box full of ammunition. If a bear holding a box of bullets doesn't scream manly man, I don't know what does. Looks like he's got a couple phone books hanging underneath. Oh, look, it's a telephone directory for the Eastern Sierra from November 1984. Oh, the old days about when they had phone books. Isn't that funny? All you will need to know about metric. They're teaching you how to use the metric. Well, guess what? You don't need to know a damn thing about metric because the communists didn't win. We're still going by good old-fashioned pounds and inches, by golly. Okay, up here he's got some books laid in. But it's real manly stuff. Let's see. 20,000 alarms. Oh my god, that is so hardcore manly. A night to remember. Oh, it's about the Titanic. Oh, I don't know. That seems kind of feminine. What is this? Candace Bergen. Duke! Aw, looks like Duke had a soft side after all. I love that. Oh, what's this? It's a can. Let's see what's in it. Oh, sugar. I wasn't expecting there to really be sugar in it. It says sugar on the outside. By gum, there's sugar on the inside. Put that back up there. Oh, look, here he's got some notes from, oh, I see. He's noting the temperature. These are all from 1970. And he's writing the temperature in Celsius, interestingly. Huh, so maybe he was into the metric system after all. But look here, it looks like somebody came by in October 21, just a couple years ago. A year ago, less than a year ago. 6 months ago. Still cold. And that person was a true patriot and wrote Fahrenheit. Although they didn't put how many degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, now we're continuing along, getting closer to the danger zone. We've got some old clothes hanging up on hooks here. These were Duke's cozy clothes. Well, here was his little work shirt. Aw, look, there's his name still on it. I love this. Duke. Aw, Duke, R.I.P. Or, I mean, if you're still alive, I'm sorry. I hope you're doing well. Look at his cozy winter coat. That'll keep you nice and toasty. It's like a sweater. Some of this stuff doesn't look like, this doesn't look like a man's coat though. Hold on. That's a girl's coat from the 70s or 80s. And then those little sweaters back there. Well, maybe he did have a lady here after all. Some old newspapers from 1986. 1986. Oh my goodness. The Reno Gazette-Journal from 1986. Oh my goodness. I don't want to get stuck reading a whole newspaper, but who's who at Tahoe? Rich and famous find tax breaks, privacy at Tahoe. And then down here it goes, Nimoy, Minnelli, Fawcett, and others call Tahoe home. Oh, and then it lists like all these famous people who lived in Lake Tahoe. Leonard Nimoy, Lauren Green, Liza Minnelli, Bruce Jenner, back when he was Bruce. Donna Summer, Captain and Tennille. Golly, Liberace. Liberace had a place in Tahoe? I didn't know that. Well, basically, it's another case of the more things change, the more they stay the same. Because, boy, you have to be rich to live at Tahoe nowadays. Okay, wow. I would love nothing more than to just read this whole newspaper. But we haven't even gone to the camp yet, I don't think. I can't imagine that this isn't the camp, though. This is obviously Duke's cabin. How much more to this place could there be? Okay, moving along, and I'm getting real close to the danger zone here. There's some, well, I'll just go ahead and describe it. To the left, and I'm going to pan over just a tiny bit and show you as much as I can. There's a page torn out of a girly magazine, and it's a pictorial spread, so to speak, called Little Pink Riding Hood. Beware of the Big Bad Wolf. So there's this tart, all gussied up in a Little Red Riding Hood sort of costume, and well, she's lifting up her shirt in one picture. She's taking off her shirt in the next picture. And in the main picture, she's lifting up her skirt so you can see her big bad. I'll just pan up so you can see the tops of her little thigh highs there. And then next to that, you might be able to see there's another thing right there. Oh, gosh. I can't show you that one at all because that one is basically just a close-up of a woman's chest. She's wearing like a white man's shirt pulled open, like kind of knotted at her midriff, pulled open with her tanned, glistening breastises flopping out for all to see. So, you know, Duke probably got lonely up here on these cold nights and he wanted some company. And so he had those pictures hanging on the wall. And I'm not sure what the woman who wore that jacket there thought about it, but I guess she didn't get to have any say at all. There's a table underneath those pinups, and there's just some random stuff on it. There's a Girl Scouts of America 1972 calendar. There's an aerial spotters trip information binder. Oh, I guess this is sort of like a trail register. Oh, far out. I think my friends from Pin in the Atlas were here recently. Let's see. Let's see who was just here. Oh, Kathy from Chicago was here January 27th. A few months ago. Oh, no one's been here since her? Oh, I thought a Pin in the Atlas just came here. Maybe not. Oh gosh, look, here they are. They're way back here in 2020. They came here back 2 years ago. Oh, I guess I'm late to the party. Pin in the Atlas, there they are. Okay, well, I guess I better sign the book then. Okay, I wrote, Duke seemed like a real character. Wish I could have met him. His spirit lives on. Wonderhussy, May 19th, 2022. That pretty much says it all. Oh, wow, look here. There's like a real old calendar from 1967. Oh, my goodness. Cleland Brothers Recapping out of Bishop, California. That's wild. You don't see calendars this old anymore. Look how pretty all these pictures are. Oh, and look at his little chair. Look how cute this is. It's like he reinforced it himself with a piece of plywood, painted it, and then stuck a little scrap of carpet on it. No padding for Duke. Padding is for soft city folk. A man like Duke only needed an old scrap of carpet and he'd be okay. Anything else here? Oh, what's in here? Clandestine Loners, Bishop, California. Oh my god, I love the name. Is it a bike club? The Clandestine Loners? People for the West. Bishop Chapter President Dale. Wow, I don't know what that is, but I'd love to be a clandestine loner because, well, I am kind of a loner, but I guess I'm not too clandestine. I'm here broadcasting everything on YouTube. Oh, look here, his old thermos. This is wild, man. This really is like almost like a shrine to this dude's life. In kind of a grisly way, it reminds me of my dad's memorial service. My dad passed away in 2011, and unfortunately he took his own life. But he was the kind of a person that wouldn't have wanted everybody to sit around crying for him. And his friends knew that. He had some pretty rowdy friends. So instead of having like a memorial service, it was more like a celebration of life. And it turned into a pub crawl, frankly. And it was wild. But at there was kind of a memorial service portion of it, you know, for my grandma. And for the rest of us, just have a nice little ceremony before we started going to all the bars. And at his memorial, my stepmom, I guess, put my dad's cowboy boots on the table. You know, when you come into a memorial, there's like pictures of the deceased person on a table. So I think his boots were there. His lunchbox. He was a construction worker, so he had one of those little mini like igloo personal coolers. That with like I think even some food in it, and then well, she had him cremated, so she had his can of ashes with his cowboy hat. He always wore a leather cowboy hat on top of the can. So like his little personal items were there, and that's what this cabin kind of reminds me of, like the fact that his thermos is here, his work boots are here. Like you can really feel this guy's spirit in this cabin. I'm getting a pretty good sense of what kind of a guy he was. And just like I wrote in that book, I think I would have really liked to have met him. Oh my gosh, what's this? It's like a giant novelty matchbook. Souvenir of Shoshone, California, out where Death Valley begins. Oh man, there's a poem written on the back, and it's got a word that's considered offensive nowadays. The young Death Valley, well, I'm going to say squaw. I know that's an offensive term to a lot of people, but that's what it says on this matchbook. Oh, it happened in the valley to the south of Tonopah, where there lived a pretty Indian, the young Death Valley squaw. Now I wanted so to meet her at the valley dance that night, but I didn't dare to greet her, for she was a little tight. So to make me more courageous, I did lean upon the bar, with a voice a bit bodacious. I just asked for one drink more. When I turned back to the dancers, a surprise is what I saw. In my arms there was an angel, the young Death Valley squaw. Her warm cheeks were honey velvet, her wet lips were wild with fire. She could not to me closer get, as she quickened my desire. Oh gosh, it's pinned to the thing. I can't read the rest of it. I'm gonna have to unpin this and I'll put it back up, but I gotta find out what happens next. Come and dance with me, my darling, and we'll have ourselves some fun. Come on, handsome, quit your stallin', for you know that you're the one. Both my hands began to tremble, and my breath was burning hot, and my heart commenced to tumble, but my head said, better not. I'm so sorry, ma'am, I answered, for I've never danced 2 steps, but before I'd said another word, she was kissing my 2 lips. Oh, the rapture really thrilled me, so I up and closed my eyes, but that kiss, it nearly killed me, and the stars sparked in my eyes. The walls were fastly spinning as I sat down on the floor. I could hear that Indian grinning. Now stand up and have some more. The walls, they stopped unreeling, and the dancers all stood still, and my heart was funny feeling, quite unlike Dan Cupid's quill. Oh, I never will forget her, the young Death Valley squaw, nor her big old chieftain husband who just nearly broke my jaw. Oh, ha, ha, ha. So her chieftain husband was standing by watching all of this, and that's what happened when she kissed him. He didn't pass out from the desire. Her husband hit him. Well, that's pretty funny, and that is something you could only read on a giant old souvenir matchbook from Shoshone, California back in the day. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is the coolest matchbook I've ever seen without question. First of all, it's ginormous novelty matches that say, stop at Shoshone. Okay, if you've ever been to Shoshone, it's a little tiny town right outside Death Valley. Not far at all from where I live myself. I go there all the dang time. There's not much to it. It's just there's a restaurant with a little bar attached. There's a quickie mart with some very expensive gas. There's a little museum, a couple tortoise out back. Very interesting little place. And apparently back then it was the same deal. Out where Death Valley begins, there was the same Charles Brown supermarket, Death Valley's shopping center. Everything for tourist, miner, and prospector. Meet your friends at the famous Crowbar for cocktails and fun. Yep, that's still there. Trailer park, swim in natural warm water. Yep, that's still there. Propane ice, electricity. Make Shoshone your headquarters while loafing along Death Valley trails. Write to Mr. and Mrs. Maury Sorrells, managers, Shoshone, California. Phone number, look at that, Shoshone number 1. I love those old phone numbers. I mean, they were the Sorrells family. In fact, Susan Sorrells, she still, I guess this must have been her parents. She still lives in Shoshone to this day. She owns the town. Matter of fact, the New Yorker just did a piece on her, a really nice biographical piece. They called her the Queen of Death Valley. I'll admit I was a little bit jealous when I read that, but hey, she's got way more claim to the title than I do, because she's been around a lot longer than me. I'm a young upstart whippersnapper compared to her. Okay, wow, that was super cool to read. And then I noticed down here looks like there's something else from Shoshone. Pam Wilson, the Shoshone Inn manager, and that looks like a pretty new card. So I guess she must have come. Oh, I know this guy. Hey. This is one of my favorite restaurants right down the road from my house, and I know the chef well. Eric, if you're watching this video, what up? That's funny. I didn't know you got around exploring like this. If I had known, I would have invited you on one of my trips. Hey, maybe Eric's the one who put those girly pictures up. Yeah, if I know anything about Eric, well, he's the kind of guy who would do something like that. Oh, there's a few more little bits of graffiti above the door on the way out that are kind of interesting. May 23, 1965. Finished the cabin table, just painted, 2 chairs, cook stand. Oh, so he basically just kept his little notes on the wall there, and there's somebody wrote, "Wish I met you, Duke." Oh gosh, I'm gonna be real careful as I walk out of here not to get this offensive stuff on. You know, I actually had a video demonetized once because I didn't realize when I first started making YouTube videos that just filming a page out of a girly mag would be enough. I don't know why it didn't occur to me, but anyway, I don't want to make that mistake again. I'm gonna go ahead and try to close this thing properly. It wasn't latched when I got here. I feel like if I loop that over there like that, that ought to hold her okay. Wow, well, maybe that was Duke's camp. I don't know. Google said I still had like a half a mile to go. I'm gonna keep driving and see if I find anything else, but if I don't, that was pretty amazing. I really enjoyed poking through that cabin. And I do wish I could have got to meet Duke. He sounds like he was a real interesting person. I guess he lived in this little cabin back here. Look at the back wall. I mean, it is actually pretty amazing craftsmanship. The way he very neatly covered the whole exterior of this thing with those flattened gas cans. That's pretty cool. And it's still pretty solid after all these years, you know? I don't know how long it's been abandoned, but like I said, Google says I still have about a half a mile to go before I get to Duke's camp. I can't imagine there's better stuff than this, but well, I'm going to go ahead and get in my car. I left it running this whole time because I thought, oh, there's probably not going to be much here. I'm not at the actual camp yet. How wrong I was. Let's get in the car and go the rest of the way.